On January 9th, 1972, the Los Angeles Lakers lost a game to the Milwaukee Bucks, which officially ended one of the most historic runs in NBA history, as the Lakers had just won 33 games in a row, a feat that no one has touched before or since, which led them to have one of the most historic seasons of all time, being led by some of the most historic players of all time in Jerry West and Wilt Chamberlain, showing their absolute dominance on the court and the perfection they had during this run of almost 2 months without losing a single game. Today we're going to dive into the challenges, the close calls, and the moments of brilliance that happened during this historic run and why it is one of the most unbeatable streaks in all of basketball history. Today on Daily Sports History. Welcome to Daily Sports History. I'm Ethan Reese, your guide to a rapid deep dive into sports history every day. And today's trivia question to listen out for is, what is the second longest win streak in NBA history? Listen throughout the episode to find the answer, and if you miss it, I'll give it to you at the very end. Now, before we get to the streak, let's learn about the team itself that happened in the 1971 and 1972 season. They were led by head coach Bill Schramm, who had played over 10 seasons in the NBA for the Washington Capitals and but mainly for the Boston Celtics. And before coming to the Lakers, he had coached the San Francisco Warriors and the Los Angeles and Utah Stars of the ABA. Before coming to the Los Angeles Lakers in 1971, where he replaced Joe Mullaney. As in the previous year, they again failed to win the NBA championship. They had lost the NBA championship mainly to the Boston Celtics 6 times in 8 years. And in 1970, they got the chance to face another team in the NBA Finals, in the New York Knicks. And again, they lost the championship. And in 1971, after losing Jerry West, their leading scorer, to a season-ending injury in February, they lost in the Western Conference Finals to the Milwaukee Bucks. And coming into the 1971-72 season, many experts thought they had missed their chance to win a championship with this aging team, as their stars, Wilt Chamberlain, Elgin Baylor, and Jerry West. Now, Wilt Chamberlain had been playing in the NBA since 1959, and by this point had already won 4 different MVPs and been selected to 11 All-Star games, and joined the Lakers in 1968 after playing for the Warriors and the 76ers previously. And Jerry West joined the Lakers in 1960 when they drafted him 2nd overall out of West Virginia. And he would go on to be an All-Star in every single year he was in the NBA. And in 1969, he actually won the NBA Finals MVP, despite the fact that the team did not win the NBA Finals. And Elgin Baylor joined the NBA in 1958 with the Los Angeles Lakers and formed a great duo with Jerry West, where he was an 11-time All-Star, 10-time first NBA. And all 3 of these players would have their numbers retired by the Lakers after they would retire. And they were all in their 30s and had missed significant time due to injuries in the previous 2 years. But Bill Sharman really focused on conditioning drills during the offseason and during the season to help retool their game to have more success and less injuries, and really retooled Wilt Chamberlain's game to focus on defense, rebounding, and jump-starting the fast break with outlet passes to Jerry West and Gail Goodrich. And the only problem was this up-tempo style really took a toll on Elgin Baylor, who would later retire 9 games into the season. But shortly after his retirement is when they really took off on November 5th, 1971, where they played the Washington Bullets and were able to eke out a win 110-106, getting their first win that would go on to become the longest win streak in NBA history. And this all happened after suffering a loss to the Milwaukee Bucks, who were the defending champs, who had arguably the best player in the league in Lou Alcindor, better known today as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Prior to this season, the record for the most wins in a single season was 68, done by the Philadelphia 76ers in the 1966-67 season when they won the NBA championship with a familiar name on their team in Wilt Chamberlain. And the Lakers continued to win, playing 7 games in 9 days. They would win 7 straight games in the next 9 days. And while playing their rivals, the Boston Celtics, Wilt Chamberlain showed he had bought into his different role in the team, scoring just 3 points, but also recording a triple-double, having 31 rebounds, 13 blocks, and 10 assists. On December 5th, they finished having a perfect month, going 14-0, 9 wins at home, 5 on the road. And on December 12th, 1971, at 20 straight wins, they faced the Hawks, who gave them a run for their money the entire game. As if they won this, they would set the record for the NBA's longest win streak that was set the previous year by the Milwaukee Bucks, who set the record at 20 wins. And they would battle until the closing minutes, where Wilt Chamberlain would make an easy basket to give them the lead, and they would steal the ball 3 times in the final 39 seconds to seal the victory 105-195, giving them the longest win streak in NBA history at 21. With this streak now being in the rear view, they wanted to set the longest streak in American professional history, which was the New York Baseball Giants, who won 26 victories in a row in 1916. And that would come just before Christmas that year, on December 22nd, when they won their 27th game in a row, beating the Baltimore Bullets, who started the whole streak. Now, even though they set this record, Jerry West said that they didn't really care that they had set the record for the longest streak in professional team history in America. They just wanted to continue to play good basketball. And the calendar flipped into 1972, and they were 30-0 at that time. And they got a win over the rival Boston and a win over Cleveland, in a huge dominating 44-point victory versus Atlanta to give them their 33rd straight win. And the question was, would they ever lose? With 33 wins in an 82-game season, they had won 40% of their total games that season. And they were leading the league with 39 wins to just 3 losses. An historic pace that the NBA had not seen before. And then came a game versus the Milwaukee Bucks, the defending champs, who were 35-8 coming into the game, still being led by a great center in Lou Alcindor, and one of the greatest guards of all time in Oscar Robertson. And they were battling with them throughout the entire game. The Bucks would take the lead at the end of the first half and not look back, and would take the game, winning by 16 points, breaking the streak on the backs of Lou Alcindor's 39-point game, with Oscar Robertson pitching in 17. And despite the Lakers having everyone on their starting 5 score over 15 points, they just could not keep up with the dominance that the Milwaukee Bucks put up that night. As Lou Alcindor played the entire game except for 1 minute, as he wanted to make sure that the streak was broken with them. Now, during the streak, the Lakers averaged 119 points a game, outscoring their opponents by 12 points, and they held opponents under 100 points 8 times. And they won by a point-plus margin 6 different times. Now, their record of 39-4 still remains the best record during the first 43 games of the season. And they would go on to win the NBA title that year, defeating the New York Knicks. And they would set the record, winning 69 games for the most wins in an NBA season, which would eventually be broken by the Chicago Bulls and the 15-16 Golden State Warriors, who won 73 games. Wilt Chamberlain said afterwards they were all so tired as they had pushed for every single game to win every single game. It was just draining on their team. Well, Jerry West said it was the greatest team he'd ever been on. Forget the personalities, as there was a lot on the team, but on the floor, they thought as one. And the closest anyone has come to the 33-game win streak happened in 2012-2013, when the Miami Heat had a 27-game win streak with LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh. And 33 games is still the longest in American team sports history. In baseball, the Giants still hold the record with that 26-game win streak. In NFL, New England Patriots had a 21-game win streak between the 2003-2004 season. And in hockey, the longest win streak happened with the Pittsburgh Penguins when they won 17 games in the 1992-93 season. And in the WNBA, the longest streak was 22 games done by the Seattle Storm in the 2010 season, led by MVP Lauren Jackson and point guard Sue Bird. And this ended up being a really special year, besides the fact that they won 33 games in a row. They would go on to make their way through the playoffs, facing off again against the Knicks in the NBA playoffs, where they would win the NBA title, which was Jerry West's first NBA title and Wilt Chamberlain's second. And it was the Lakers' first title since 1954. Following the season, Bill Sharm would be named NBA Coach of the Year. Jerry West would make first team All-NBA and first team All-Defense joined by Wilt Chamberlain on that defensive team. And Wilt Chamberlain would lead the NBA in shooting percentage, averaging just under 65% shooting. But he wasn't the scoring behemoth, as he only averaged 14.8 points that season, but he averaged 19.2 rebounds. Now, this was a special team, though they did come back the next year and make it all the way to the NBA Finals to lose again to the Knicks. But it was a strong team, a veteran team that was something special. They changed their perspective under their new head coach, Bill Sharman, who changed Wilt Chamberlain into a defensive dynamo more than just a scoring machine. And that change led to an NBA championship that the Lakers had been missing for years. Thank you for listening to today's Daily Sports History. And if you want more NBA content, check out the Dime Droppers podcast, where your host, Darian, gives you an unapologetic take on the realities of the NBA and the world around it, giving you all you need to know on a game-to-game basis. We'll put a link in the description below for you to check them out. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a like and review wherever you're listening and tell us what NBA season was your favorite. And did you catch the answer to today's trivia question? What team has the second longest win streak in NBA history? And the answer is the Miami Heat, the 2012-2013 season, when they won 7 games with the big three of LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh.